Okay, so I'm gonna start doing these videos since we don't have practice Thursdays through Sunday. I figured you guys could watch this video and you could try to kind of implement this into your rank games. So for our first kind of map we're gonna look at is gonna be Ascent. So for Ascent, we've played this before. We know how it works. I think I really like the team comp that we played last night. This was recorded after the Huntington game, and it kind of just worked out, and I liked everybody on their characters, and I think we could get used to this. This could be our staple map. So our primary objective when we're going to be is we have this set up and we're kind of getting set up. So the first setup here is going to be this. So you can kind of see a couple different things. There's two key components really. Before the round is starting, so when we're in a setup phase, we have to get focused and we kind of have to make sure that we're on top of things because Cypher is going to need to plant 2 trips. On pistol rounds, you can buy one and set it up here or here. Doesn't really matter as long as you have a flank covered. You could also switch something like you're watching here and you're putting the trip right here if you're trying to save eco. But this is going to be kind of like our buy setup and attack strat when we have money at least. So these positions are kind of laid out specifically. So for me, I can be here and I can be watching anything from this area right here when I'm peeking mid, or I could be watching tree from right here. It doesn't really matter. The reason why I'm here and I'm kind of up front like this in this general area is so that Cypher can play behind me in this corner without playing LOS of tree. Because if you see here, the main peak is going to be right here. This wall cuts off LOS, so I can be seen and I can try and get a pick. But this allows your setup for Cypher, so you can get a trip, place it right here, covering this entrance, and then that way, once you're done, and either I've gotten a pick or you're set up the trip, we can kind of fall back through here, and we're about to take site. So our initial objective here would be I could play forward once you have the trip, and this will be kind of our setup. So Sky's going to dog in. She's going to check this corner, make sure like logs is clear, and maybe like somebody hiding in boat and nobody's down lane. That's the main objective. So again, it's going to be logs, it's going to be boat, and then it's going to be lane. Once the dog is done, we're going to flash out. Sky is going to entry. I'm right behind her. And then that's where our kind of initial setup will go. That's how it's going to look. So again, we're going to dog in. We're going to flash after that. And then we can push after that. What it looks like for pushing. I feel like that's a big thing of why we kind of get messed up is because you guys don't really know the effective way to go into the site, and that has to be planned out, and that's on me for not planning out that time. We just did not have time to do that. So this is what it's going to kind of look like, and I know it's a little bit small, so I'm going to kind of increase it here. This is going to be once we're trying to attempt to get on site. So the previous thing right here is, the setup phase, the first like 10 to 15 seconds of the round, not even. But this is kind of when we're pushing in. So the dog's gone, the flash has gone away, we're taking site, and this is the formation, quote unquote. So I will be playing with Sage as we enter through here, and Sage will come with me. She's going to loop around boat, and if you don't know, there's a switch right here on this little boat, literally. And she'll flip that switch. It'll close off door, and we'll be good. Notice how on the previous things we're smoking as soon as this dog goes out, and Lane already knows these smokes, but I wanted to put him here to kind of visualize it. So as this is going on, the smokes are about to clear, and we need to be careful of people from market and CT. The reason why I'm pushing up all the way to CT is that Sage can follow me right here and then get her wall down. If we can effectively wall off CT, the smoke dissipates and you guys are right here, either killing the people or trading, then that's an ideal situation, right? That's good. We need to make sure that we're clearing this corner and we're clearing back of sight. I don't remember what this is called, so I'll have to look that up. Maybe that's called boat. I'm not sure. But so that's the kind of ideal format. So Sky and Cypher will be together. You're going down lane, making sure that you're clearing. Normally in this situation, if Caleb, being on Sky, is going to kind of enter first, he probably will get taken out, and Cypher will have to get a trade. That's going to be how it's going to work. And the same thing with me. I could be just traded out, and this is what the formation will look like, and that's totally fine. But we should be up, right? We should be up at this kind of stage of the game. If not, we can play around that, and that's no problem. So that's kind of how we're going to work. So going back, just to recap. So Cypher and Sky will be together. You're going down lane, and then Sky and me, or Reyna, whoever that might be, will be up here. That way we can get this wall down. You can wall like this. You can wall like this. It doesn't matter. The only thing I wouldn't recommend is if you're doing this. So don't forget that this is going to be smoked off. We don't want to push into CT to get a wall down, even though this wall is technically a little bit better. We don't want to do that because somebody could be right here hiding in a corner and take you out. And if the Sage gets picked off early game, that's really not ideal. So we want this wall to be down. And this is how it's going to look like. Make sure we're hitting the switch. And then Brim is staying back here. There's one really important reason why you're staying back here. And I'll show you that on the next screen. But we want to make sure that you're kind of hanging back. If you feel like you're kind of not doing anything, it's kind of because you are, but you have a really important job of watching market when your smoke clears. Because if somebody peeks here, I get taken out, or, maybe Cypher plays up too slow and he gets taken out. So it's really important that you're watching these flank, and you'll see why you're going to be playing back soon. One more key thing is Cypher. It's chaotic. You're fighting, you're dueling, you're trying to trade. It happens that you miss a trip. This trip should be right here. But if you do miss a trip, once things have calmed down and you're going to get into position, you need to look back. If either one of these trips are broken, we need to make sure that we're calling that so Brim can fall back here and watch behind. It is totally fine if Brim has to watch behind. He just has to call that he's going to be watching flank. All right, so that's as much as in-depth as I'm going to get for that one. After that happens, and after everything is going good, and we're going to look at the ideal situation first, is let's say everybody's up. That's the best thing that's going to happen. It's not going to happen very often, but let's say it does. I'm going to be sitting right here on stairs. Sage is going to get into this corner right here and just stay there. What I like to do is if you go right here, like down on the box and crouch, that way that when they wallbang you, kind of through this wall, because it's a very common spot, you're going to be clear. So I wouldn't stay right up on the box. I would stay like down below it, or even like right here. That way, when Cypher gets on to site, he has a cam on this side of the wall watching plant. Notice how we're planting always behind this box. Sometimes if we're pressed and we're low, we can plant right here, and I'll show you why. But those are the ideal plant spots, right? So camera set up here. It's watching bomb. Cypher, you're going to be right here. You're going to be just hiding, watching the cam, watching Sage's back, because she's going to be looking this way. Assuming that, I'm still alive or I'm dead, you're just going to be watching this way. Sky's going to fall back if she's not picked off. Normally you probably will be, because that's just how we're entering. But if you're not, you're going to be here and you're going to just be watching market. Don't worry about CT. There's a cam right here. You can pan the camera to the left. You can watch both if you want to, like this. But yeah, so let's say in a non-ideal situation, Sky gets picked. This is our setup. The reason we have Brim over here in the previous stage before the bomb's planted is because he needs to fall back. I'm going to teach lane. There's a spot you can do. You can get in this corner, and it's a super easy. You just line your crosshair up on this wall, and it'll bounce the molly off and put it perfectly on plant. if we can get in the habit of playing post-plant lineups and playing safe, we're going to win every single match we come across. It's how these things work. They're not going to know how to play against it, and we're going to do perfectly. The reason this is so strong is because let's say Sage is dead, Cypher gets picked off on site. The bomb should be close to finishing. When you hear it speed up, and don't worry, I'll show Lane personally how to do this. But when you hear the bomb speed up, you launch the molly. It'll land before they defuse it, so they might get half, but that's okay. It'll land, and the timer will go off. The bomb will blow up. They might die, and the round's secured. Even if somebody pushes you and you get picked, we can still win the round without getting a single kill. That's kind of the ideal setup and kind of a higher elo play. But it's not necessarily difficult. So again, from start to finish, we're going to have us set up on B. This is the setup plan. We want me and Cypher to kind of stay in tiles right here so you can get a trip. Brim, you're staying in this corner so you can smoke off market and CT. We're dogging out and then immediately flashing out. We get to push onto site. Brim's going to station here. Me and Sage are grouped together. Sky and Cypher are grouped together. You're watching for corner, maybe back of sight. Me and Sage will watch for CT and market. Brim is watching for market. You have to turn around for flank if a trip gets destroyed. And then this is our ideal setup. Even if me and Sky are both dead, you get to play lineups, you're anchoring, you're holding on the site. The reason I put a smoke right here is because you already used 2 smokes. If you are right here and you're about to position into this corner for a lineup, then you're just popping a smoke right here. You're just going to pop a smoke right there. That way that you can kind of be safe to get into your entry. And if you're getting pushed and you're about to die, pop the molly anyway. I'll show you the lineups. They're super easy. No problems. And we're good. The only other thing I'm going to say about attacking B site is if you can't get here, like let's say there's a lot on the flank right here at this stage, you can push in with them. You can push in with Sky and Cypher or me and Sage. It's totally fine. You can push in and you can get on site. A thing that you can do on Brim is when you hear the molly speed up for the first time, you can look directly up. Like just push your mouse all the way forward until you're looking all the way up. Shoot the molly. And by the time you're shooting it, once it speeds up, and don't worry, I'll show you this more in depth, it'll land and you will have saved the round. If they don't have half, by the time this molly lands, you win the round no matter what. So that's the kind of tech I want to teach you, because we can win with Brim so much easier against these lower elo people than we can with anyone else. So that's kind of it for B. I'll stop rambling. Hopefully this was kind of helpful, and if not, message me with questions and we'll go from there. Okay, so for this time around, we're looking at A attack side for Ascent. So the difference with this site is we have the same team comp, obviously, nothing is changing that way, but it's a little bit longer and it's a little bit more drawn out process with an extra step into it. So we have everybody on their same characters, no change there. But here's the setup. There's a lot going on here, so one person at a time. Cypher, your job to set up is going to be these 2 trips. You're going to have one on CT flank and one on cat flank. This one is going to be the one that's going to get broken the most often, but people can flank from here. The reason I like having these 2 here is because not only it tells you one area is safe and the other isn't, it's a little bit less predictable. Almost all low elo players do it right here, and I really hate this one because it allows for you to, I don't know why this isn't working. There we go. Oop. So it allows you to kind of get picked off without the trip actually being seen, right? So if this is the LOS, you still have this entire area. Don't care for that. Don't like that. Spend the extra money, get the trip right down here, and you'll be a little bit more secure. You can play here when you're looking, you're setting up, you're doing whatever. Totally fine. Just as the round starts and we start our attack, kind of move back in and get in front of Sage. So, when we're attacking, just like we always have been, I feel like this is kind of the one we have down by now, but still I want to go over it, is I'm going to be up front here. We have Sky. She's going to dog in. The biggest thing about this is with this dog, you have to clear this right corner. People lurk here. It's super annoying. Just, we have to clear that. So I would look tree first, be like, okay, nobody's here, and immediately pan over to the right. And then you're going to flash out after that dog. That's kind of obvious, right? That's your job, and you know what to do. And Caleb plays Sky well now. So with Brim, Lane, you did really good in yesterday's match versus Huntington, and we want to continue that. So we're going to use all 3 smokes off the bat. I don't know that that's technically the best way, but I like having Heaven cut off, and I like having Tree cut off. I think it's the safest way, and assuming we don't, like, go really slowly, we'll have plenty of time to do everything we want. So I'm going to kind of assist more with my leaders. I don't think I kind of hold off on buying them because I kind of get picked too often. So I'm going to try to play for more util kind of econ based game, and I'm going to help with the flashes after Sky Flash. That way it's a little bit more secured and locked down on the site. So that's going to be our initial plan. So we're going to dog through, we're going to flash, I'm going to leer, and then we're going to kind of follow this formation through. Our second kind of portion of this attack is where really when we're getting onto site. So before it was kind of like, this is how we start to get on. This is when we're trying to actually get physically on the site. So same plan as the B attack, kind of. But this time, me and Sage, or me and Smalls, are going to go to the left a little bit more. So we're going to pan out. We're going over to the tree. Don't forget, these things are going to be smoked, so Heaven's smoked off. But we need to kind of act fast so that those smokes don't go away and we're caught out in the open. So Sage is going to come up here. You can hit this switch at tree and then fall back and kind of place the wall like here. But I don't really like that because they're just going to shoot it out, and then you're caught out in the open when the smoke dissipates to place the wall. If you can get good at it and you can do it fast, do it both, wall it and door it. Don't care, totally fine either way. But if you do something like this, it's a lot better, but you don't have to. You can just do it straight. And that's what our ideal goal is right here. So I'm kind of walking past, making sure nobody's going to pop out at you. You get wall down. We don't have to worry about tree. And then Sky and Cypher are grouped together. You're kind of going over here to this right side of the site. You're passing over to the right of Dice. And Sky's job is to kind of like make sure nobody's at Heaven. And my job is nobody's at Gen. So this will kind of be the later half. Cypher, your camera's going to go over here on the right wall. There's this little box right here. Try and get it above it. That way you can see in and down in the tree and in and down into main. But if not, and you just have to get it on site because you're rushed, don't worry about it. But this is kind of where the next phase gets in. So again, me and Sky, we're pushing to close this door, get wall down. You two are trying to get Cypher into the site under Hell to kind of set up, right? Here's the next portion, and it looks like a lot, so I'm going to go over it a little bit, but it's not that bad. So your camera, is already set up. Your trips, you're looking here. In the previous one, you're making sure that they're not down, and you're getting in Hell. You, meaning Jack, Cypher, and Smalls on Sage, play really well together. You practice it in the 1v3, peeking together. I want to group you on a site, both under Hell. One grabs the right, one grabs the left. You know how to play it. You're good at it. And we'll play to our strengths. So you two are there. I'm kind of dancing around Gen here, mostly looking at tree. Normally they're just going to straight break this wall and then jump us. What I want you to do, Cypher, is right when you're here and you just got your cam set up, if you can and you have enough money, throw a cage up on Heaven. That way when the smoke dissipates from Brim, You can pop that whenever you want, and you'll hear an audio cue when they'll pass through it. That way you can kind of know, okay, maybe we have 1 or 2 people in heaven. That'll tell me, okay, you know, there'll probably be 1 tree or maybe 1 flanking main, right? The reason you see 3 on site right here is because I want Brim, and kind of same thing here. If I didn't go over that, my bad. Brim, you're going to be hanging back in both of these things. The reason why is because the same time as B. You want to play post plant, meaning after we get the bomb down, you want to set up for a molly. Ideally, Caleb's alive, and ideally me alive. Granted, this is the best situation that can happen, but most of the time, me and Caleb are going to be dead. If not, that's great. Caleb, I want you to use your remaining flash to flash back into CT. This is going to be after a while. The bomb's been going on for just a little bit. We want to make sure that we hear the audio cue to see whether somebody's there or not. If there's nobody there or not, yippee, you did your job. Great job. If there is, you two play together and try and get that pick. Our ideal situation is after the bomb's gone. Let's say we die on site. If Brim can get into this corner pocket right here between this box and this wall, I can show him a lineup. We're playing the same thing as B site. We're playing post plant. When that thing speeds up, he's mollying over. It'll land, and if he doesn't have it, ideally, right, not going to always happen, but he can orbital strike, you know, ult the bomb and then throw his molly, and it's a guaranteed win. So that's what this kind of extra step is on A. We got to re-enter into, you know, CT, or T, sorry, T-spawn. So we want to get you into that position where that way you can anchor and can play that. And anchoring means a couple different things, but I'm using it in the frames like you're trying to secure the round. So yeah, we don't have to be alive. Me, Josh, Jack, none of us have to be alive. This can happen, and this is how I want us to try and play as much as possible, because we can really get this down. So again, just really quickly, we're going into A. You have your trip set up, you're dogging, we're flashing. I'm flashing with you this time. Me and Sky will play together right here at the door. We're kind of split in this formation where me and Sage are together, Sky and Cypher are together. You're getting your cam down right here. We're making sure we get wall on tree. Try and not worry. Brim, your job right here is kind of just watch heaven if somebody pushes through your smoke. The reason you're smoking this heaven thing is because when somebody pushes through here, it's super easy to just headshot them or be like, hey, somebody just fell off of heaven. And you can get a pick. If not, then one of these guys who are going to set up in hell will. It's okay if I go down. It's okay if everybody except Brim goes down. But we want to make sure that Brim is playing life as much as possible, meaning he wants to survive, he wants to get that molly off, and he wants to drag out the round as long as possible. Alright, so that's enough ranting. Message me on Discord if you have any questions, and that'll be all for attacking on Ascent. Okay, so this is our setup for Ascent on defense. It can change up a little bit, but this is how we're going to start off. So, starting all the way at the right, we're going to have Cypher. Cypher, you know your setups. Jack, you're going to, you can change up these positions if you want, if you find something you like better. Normally how I see Cyphers playing is they'll stand right here on this little ledge away so that you can't be seen by your body. And then you'll have your camera immediately over here so you can watch into B main, kind of like this. And then they'll destroy it. If you hear them, we'll call for the rotate, and then we can kind of move over. And you'll kind of play off your camera right there. Another place you could play is right here. And you could just be, peeking here. And if they come out, you can swing this with Brim, and you can get across like that. That's totally fine too. It's up to you. So, for Brim, your job is important. The reason why you're here instead of on a site is because your smokes, you can go right here and smoke off A, kind of like this, right here, right? The tree, You can smoke off here. You have this entire range in your E right here. So you can smoke right here. You can smoke tree. You can smoke bottom mid if you want to. Or, you know, where you're playing, and most likely what's going to happen is Cypher's going to see somebody, and then you're going to be right here, and you can pop down a smoke and kind of delay them as much as possible. If they're still there, or you don't know because you don't hear a rotate, pop another smoke down right there and refresh it, right? So you're delaying them as much as possible. So assuming they come B, Cypher sees them on, you know, whatever it would be. Let's say, you know, it's a chamber. They see him, bang, they kill his turret. He can't push through because this smoke is here. And if he does, he just gets a double cross by Cypher and Brim, and he's dead. So, you know, goodbye Cypher, or goodbye chamber. So, myself, I'm going to be a mid player. I think it's the easiest to do for me because I'll most likely win the 1v1 duel. And if I keep losing, I just will stop and I'll play like B or A as a 3-stack. But I can peek right here. I can peek through tiles. Or I can peek right here in tree and peek tiles. Or I could peek right here at the bottom of mid and peek top of mid on cat. So I have a lot of diversity, and I can switch this every round so they don't know which one I'm peeking and stuff like that. I felt like we had really good mid control when I was playing on Ascent, and I just liked how it felt. So that's going to be kind of where I am, and I can switch between the three. If I call for mid, these smokes, obviously you can smoke right here if you want, or smoke up here, but normally you would just kind of smoke it off here. We'd listen if they go up cat, stuff like that. So for A, I think it's really important to wall this. Try not to wall like this because then they break one. If you wall like this, they have to break like 2 blocks, take a longer time, and if they don't, they funnel in through a really small gap versus that half gap, you know, half of the lane. So try to make it diagonal. It's no problem if you want to do it like this. Does not matter, but that's just kind of how I see Sages doing it normally. So you're going to kind of be sitting here watching tree. If you hear people, you'll fall back to right here watching tree door. That way when I come right here, I can push in and see somebody through here, and if not, I'll be calling that they made their way to door or window and, you know, on the site. So I'll rotate through here, get your tree, you'll be right here. And Sky, your job is just pretty clear. You're going to be playing around dice. It's a really good spot. If you crouch, you can't be seen on your head. So you can peek to the right after a flash. You can peek to the left after a flash. And it doesn't matter. And you can get some really good peeks off. Talking about rotates, if we hear them or see them, like multiple, we see them with Cypher Cam and it's 5. Brim will smoke this. And they will have time to rotate. And you know, I'll be right here, so I'll just go right here quickly, and by the time we're like probably around here-ish, the smoke will dissipate and Brim will have another one, so we can get 5, and we can hold a site. I can play kind of towards mid if we feel like it, cover the flank. That's probably what I'll do the most time, because if I play all the way back here with like a Vandal, I have like a super long angle to peek that I can hold, and then Util will be on site. If they rotate from B to A, then we'll kind of play it slow. You'll be right here. You'll be right here. Cypher will get through. Brim's going to here, smoking this entrance. Even if there's a wall there, you'll smoke it. And that's how we'll delay. So major things. Cypher, you're setting up properly. Sage, you have that wall down. And then I, you know, look at where I am on the map, and Brim, you're the big part where you're either going here. If they hear people A, you're smoking right here. And if not, we hear people or see people with the Cypher Cam, you're smoking right here. And we'll go off of info. Sky, another thing to note, so Caleb, if you're playing that, if you flash out right here, the goal isn't to flash them. The goal is just to hear that certain audio cue of, you know, the high pitch one where, oh, we spotted people, so we know they're there. It's kind of like a KO knife, right? So yeah, and you can dog, do whatever. The goal is to land as long as possible. They have less time to plant. If not, don't be afraid to rotate. They're like, okay, they're really pushing fast. We're gonna back up to here. Cypher's gonna back up to here, and then wait for team to rotate, and we'll retake site this way, right? All right. Pretty self-explanatory. You guys do really good on defense. I think it's our stronger side, so I'm not too worried about it. But that's kind of the general game plan. And message me on Discord, and that kind of concludes Ascent.